Good afternoon, Jack. Good afternoon, Simon. How are you?
Good afternoon, George. Good afternoon, Simon.
Hello, guys. How's it going?
Not bad, mate. Not bad. Just finished.
Had a haircut?
I have had a haircut and a beard cut. I think you slightly prompted me last week.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I think you, I never quite know with you if you're like genuinely saying, "It looks all right," or just kind of, yeah, it looks all right. I can never.
I'm
really...
a nice guy.
Jack,
I'm a nice guy. I'm pretty honest.
You're the driest person I know in terms of sense of humor. Like the times where you said stuff in the gym where I'm like, is he joking? Is he not?
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to find out, and it's like 10 minutes later, I'm like, he's joking.
No, he is. He smiled at me. He's fine.
Yeah, I'll let you know. There's a big little smile like 20 minutes later.
Yeah. A day later.
Yeah. Just a little like, okay.
There's a story that I won't say on here that you told me about.
Why?
Jack?
Regarding text messages.
Oh man, you're so funny.
Texting
out. So funny.
Oh, we should probably.
No. Bad idea, actually. Yeah.
You see why I said a story?
Yeah.
Specifics,
good.
So
good.
I'm switched on sometimes. It's
I forgot about that completely.
George, whatever was happening with your background, your earphone is making your neck look really thin.
My neck is really. I've lost 4 kilos in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
4 kilos.
Mostly off your arms.
On purpose? Or?
I've dropped calories by like 300 a day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's like it's easy basically. It must be that I've got a thin gene.
Are you doing keto?
Yeah. You got.
Must be doing keto.
So I'm doing keto. I've got the thin gene.
Reducing.
I haven't got the fat gene. I've got the thin gene. And intermittent fasting along with fasted cardio. So all of it really. I'm not in a calorie deficit.
And the guy Michael Mosley's 400 calorie a day or whatever it is, that diet as well. I've been doing that as well with the keto.
With the keto
combining the two.
Yeah, which made it so much easier.
But you're doing the 400 calorie a day diet, but you're not tracking calories either.
No. I mean,
and you're doing the if it fits your macros, but keto.
Yeah, and I've done less steps.
Yeah, no, that's how you lose weight.
So you do it. Yeah, you move less, you eat more, and that's we joke. Obviously, people who are listening who have just tuned in at that point, we're joking. Just so we're clear. On that note, what we were planning on talking about today was nutrition around coronavirus. There's a lot of things that have been put up out there from the media and various other sources.
Is that still happening?
What, the virus?
Yeah.
I mean. I think so. I don't.
It is, but remember, it doesn't work weekends. That's why things come in on the Monday. It takes a few days off, and then so it's like, okay, it's back Monday, so that's when like the new rules come in. So it always takes the weekend.
We can go out.
It doesn't work weekend.
Yeah, we would go out not socially distance, and then on Monday we have to go back to the normal rules with masks, social distance, and all that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
No, the 6 people thing. Yeah. It takes a couple of days off and then comes back.
Yeah.
Tell me this though: does the 6 people thing still count when you go to the pub?
So the pubs are saying, like, effectively, the bubble of the workers counts as 1 person. So like me and you count as 1.
Yeah.
So when there's people coming to the gym, me and you count as 1, and then everyone else, and Lynn and Steve, for example, would count as 2. So me and you, them 2, would count as 2 people in a bubble, sort of thing. I think.
It's very complicated, but like it's absolutely not going to be done at all, and the people are just going to go out and get wrecked again. And
I do think that this is just a way for the government to show that they're trying to manage the situation. I don't know how we'll know in 4 weeks how bad it is, like how bad the second wave of whatever is, if it is a second wave. So.
Do you know, like, this is on a tangent, but like the thing that annoys me a lot is that, obviously, like you get groups of, over a third or 20-year-olds and up, in that sort of 20 to 30 bracket. And that's the ones that are going out drinking and all that sort of stuff. But the attitude of the 20 to 30-year-olds is like, well, it's not that bad, is it? Like, I think we should just get on with it. And I'm like, it obviously, and really, really, really obviously is that bad. Otherwise, we would not be in a massive recession. Jobs would not be shutting down. Every country in the world wouldn't be freaking out. So obviously there is something there that it is obviously very threatening. So when people are like, yeah, well, I know somebody couldn't smell for 4 days. Well done. Congratulations. That's one person.
Yeah.
There's obviously, if the government only had to worry about people losing their smell, they wouldn't
care. Exactly.
People out.
We unfortunately know people that have passed away.
Yeah, died as well.
I mean, like we know, like it's you've got to respect it really. And
but the younger ones are like, well, I don't care, and I'm like, I don't care that you get it either, but I do care that you're driving the numbers up.
Yeah,
But you know what I mean?
It's true, mate. Yeah, absolutely.
And then it shuts all our things down because you aren't paying attention. That's what I care about.
And unfortunately, industries like ours are the industries that are going to be affected, because not every gym are doing what we're doing. Our free gyms are doing, and really taking care of social distances and everything like that. So, it's so it'll be a blanket gyms. But I think I actually think that they don't want to shut down totally again. I think
I don't think they will. Yeah.
And I think gyms like
fuck everything up all over again. It'll be a disaster.
Yeah. So. Yeah, and so that's our thoughts on what's happening. Oh, we can't get into Wales next week. Is that right? Oh, my daughter's outside. She's outside going, "What are you doing? Where's your trousers?" and the other day, right? So she's got into the habit of asking, and I don't know whether I should say this on here, but like,
you got it now.
I'm having a shower. She walks in, goes, "Daddy, I can see your willy." And I go, "Okay, that's." Go up, leave. But the problem is, and here's the problem, she started to say it outside. Do you know what I mean? She's like, all of a sudden, she's like in the middle of town, like, "See you, Willie," and I'm like, "Shut up," because you can't.
Wrong context.
What has happened to Jack?
Oh, he's popped this time.
Yeah, I just made him laugh so hard that he's just there. He's just there. You want to connect your hotspot, Jack. That's what you need to do. So
is it frozen?
Yeah, I know. I can hear you. Oh, there you
go. Yeah, I got a photo of it, man. It was perfect.
Yeah, it was. We should have screenshotted that. That was brilliant. That was beautiful. All right, so
get back.
Yeah, so let's get back to the topic and not talking about how.
Well, we are recording the screen, so it will be there.
Yeah. It will be. It will. Yes. Oh, do you know what, Jack?
Jack, you're so clever.
I sometimes forget. All right, so let's start. Let's go ahead and start. So. The first thing I want to cover is vitamin D. Okay, so vitamin D has been all over the media since the coronavirus. People talking about it as a immune system boosting thing that will stop coronavirus from killing you, basically. So let's put it into a little bit of context. I'll tell you what I think, and then you guys can chime in whenever you want, because usually I ask you lot and end up saying very little, which is always lovely for me.
But good for the viewers, though. Good for the
much better.
I mean, with insights like last week, I mean, yummy food is good. So
the context,
people want that. People want that.
Can I just say, we were talking about how difficult it is to adhere to a diet, and that how good yummy food makes you feel, so you find it hard to stick to that. That was the context.
It was a good insight. It was fine. It was good. It was good. It's a good comment. There's nothing wrong with it. Don't get so defensive about it. It's a good comment.
Don't lie. You're lying. It is correct. Yeah. So here's my take on vitamin D. It is good for you. It does boost your immune system. We do need it. We don't get much of it in countries like ours because there's a lot of cloudy, rainy, cold weather. Now, the jury's out on whether it, can, you got, again, it's missing context. Does vitamin D stop coronavirus? We don't know the answer to that. They probably know, right? And if you've got someone whose diet is shit, sleep is shit, and basic lifestyle choices are poor, do you think giving that person a high dose of vitamin D is gonna make up for all those things? I think not. I think people need to understand that if you want to take a vitamin D supplement, absolutely do it. Do your research, find the ones you think that are good, take it, but you've got to look at the rest of it. Okay, you've got to look at your what you're eating, how much you're moving, how much you're sleeping, things that we've talked about in these episodes in the past. It needs to be, a whole view, a whole pie, so you need to, that's what I think. And secondly, it's not just for coronavirus, vitamin D. It's not just going to help you
every
specifically
day
for coronavirus. Do you know what I mean? It's going to boost your immune system, which will help you with any virus, with energy levels, all sorts of stuff. So that's my take on the vitamin D.
But they've always talked about it, Anthony. Like, I remember we did that seminar with Dr. Serrano, and he was very big on the vitamin D. I think we used to use a protocol in Breakthrough, which is a very high dose of vitamin D, but I don't think it turned out to be that valid in terms of like the absorption and everything else that we used off of it. They used to do a mass bolus dosing of vitamin D.
2 big doses based on the fact that you might, in typical life, you probably get hit by a big dose, then not be in the sun, hit by a big dose. But it turns out, I think, I looked at some research on the various ways you can take it, and there wasn't much of a difference in the effect that it had if you just take a dose every day or take. It's no difference. So just
it evens out, averages out.
Yeah, exactly. So just take.
But the vitamin D it's one of those things where it helps so many things. So like George, you've used vitamin D in the past for your missus where she has psoriasis. And extensively with people who suffer with autoimmune diseases because it helps your immune system. It helps your body perform better and your immune system perform better. It doesn't give you immunity from anything. It just helps your body just dial up and just work a lot more efficiently when it comes to attacking and fighting viruses and various things that come into your body. But you've had great results with Sally, and although you use a lot of other stuff.
That's the thing. Again, like Sally in that time, over a year of she cleaned up her nutrition to the levels that you wouldn't believe. So you couldn't maintain that type of diet. But the point, again, going back to what I said earlier, and you're absolutely right. The vitamin D was absolutely part of the puzzle. But she changed her whole life. Her whole lifestyle. Yeah, exactly. Another thing with this, right? She tried to bring her stress down. Stress, and so
it's the same thing though when it comes to viruses and boosting your immune system. Stress has got to be a factor. It's in there along with your vitamins and minerals and all that. Because if you're stressing your mind out and you're stressing your body out, again, there's going to be a depletion somewhere. That's just going to happen. But the vitamin D holds its value because there are so many studies done on it, and it does have an effect. And like you said, if you're massively overweight, then just taking a vitamin D supplement, it's not going to be the savior that you're looking for. It will arm you a little bit better than what you are. So if it gives you 10% better immunity than what you had before, take it. It's worth it. Absolutely. It's an expensive supplement, and it's something that we 100% could do with more. We're not outside in the peak hours of the day. We're not even outside when we finish work. We just get in the vehicles and we go home and yada yada. We don't spend time out there. And then if you look at the people who have been suffering with COVID more, it's been the South Asian community, the Black community and all that. And they notoriously don't have good vitamin D levels
they
because
need
of their
more.
skin.
They need more.
They don't absorb the light, hence their skin's dark. They don't absorb the light as much as we do. And they don't have as good a vitamin D levels as we do. And that is, I don't know about you, Jack, but I've always read this from strength and conditioning coaches as well, where they always, they're making sure that their Black athletes and their Asian athletes are always having more vitamin D.
I've read that.
It helps with recovery. Helps with a lot of things. So I absolutely believe that we should be taking it. And again, now we're coming into the winter months. This is when it's more effective, and you should be jazzing it up. And if you spend a lot of time outside come spring, summer, then you can reduce that down, or just keep the levels the same and just fly on it, because we're not absorbing.
You're not going to overdo it. Yeah, you're not going
to. No, especially if you're in the UK, especially from like now. From like the next 6 months, it's something definitely should probably start to introduce, because obviously we were very lucky with the summer we had. Like, it was actually pretty good. Obviously, we're inside for some of it, but like you said, there's all the benefits that come of it. But it's not some wonder pill that's gonna help everything and be like, oh, you take this and then you'll be absolutely fine with everything else. It's one of 24 micronutrients you actually need. Like, it's a cog of one massive wheel and machine. So you can't just do this one thing and then suddenly everything else fits into place.
And then I think the thing is, when we're talking about these things, like you said, like the micronutrients that we're looking at, macronutrients serve bigger roles. You know, they help rebuild tissues, they supply us with energy, and so on. But the micronutrients are the stuff that's sitting in the background, making sure that A, the macronutrients can actually do their job, and then B, that the body can function in the background, because we need all these little nutrients to come along for signals, for cells, for reactions to happening, for energy to be transferred from food into our body, and you know, all these happen in the buoyancy of micronutrients. And we live in a world where we're highly stressed, where sleep is never our priority, where recovery isn't often our priority. It's only when we crash that we start to decide to look after ourselves. So if you're deficient in some of these micronutrients, and then something like this virus comes along, starts attacking you, you're going to pay the price for that. Yeah. Like, you're going to suffer a lot more. The youth, I think, get away with it because, again, they spend a little bit more time out. Their bodies aren't as broken down, and they don't suffer with the stress that you suffer when you are
get older,
working, chasing a career, dealing with children, yada, yada, yada. That's what I think.
On that point, Simon, that you made about the micronutrients and the macronutrients, I just want to just talk quickly about very low fat diets.
Yeah.
So just remember that for anyone who's watching, that vitamin D is a vitamin that is fat soluble.
Yeah.
Now, what that means is that it's absorbed into the body if you take it through fat, basically. So if you're dietary fat,
like in fattier foods or oily fish or
so if you decide to go on a very low fat diet, the amount of vitamin D that you're going to absorb will also be compromised. So just remember that. We're not saying eat a ton of fat, of course, but if you're someone who's, if you're trying to lose weight and you decide that the fat is what you're going to reduce mostly, and you go 10, 20 grams, you might want to think about that a little bit, and just mess with the whole calories together rather than just one of the macronutrients. So I just wanted to make that point in there.
And with fat, you're missing out on A, D, E, and K. You're missing out on much bigger.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they all, again, vitamin A is being linked to helping our immune system. Vitamin E, so there's more in there, and we're now into the phase of the pandemic where the government are recognizing that obesity is a major issue. We need to obviously get rid of some body fat and then boost our immune system. And people run the risk of going down that low fat, high carby diet route, and then skipping out on some of the essential nutrients that are actually going to help their immune system. And that's a worry, because you could be chasing down and getting lean, but getting lean doesn't always mean you're healthy. We know that. There's, people in competitions and all that sort of stuff, they're getting drastically lean, or they're taking drastic measures to get lean quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
It means that they compromise their immune system massively. It happens in races where people are running, they get all sorts of like colds and flu symptoms or coughs and whatever, these sort of things, because they're at the end of their tether by that point.
Yeah, so I think we've got to hammer that point home that, if we go through the low fat route, we just need to recognize that it's going to compromise the absorption of the micronutrients that are going to help our immune system. So not to get too technical, but, control your calories. Don't take down one macronutrient to control your calories. Do it together, but keep it balanced, as we always say. And any more on vitamin D, Jack?
No, I don't think you can go through all the benefits, but I think it's important, especially now.
Yeah.
For people, especially people in the UK, but then people even everywhere, probably, even if they are in a lot of sunlight, like Simon said, like, you don't spend all your day in the sunlight because you're inside. So it's a tool to use as a whole wheel of everything that's included.
Yeah. Cool. Great. We'll move on to what the government have talked about with their diabetes diet.
Also, they just throw in their vitamin C as well.
Of course. Yeah.
For immune system.
Of course, yeah.
So on.
Yeah.
And just to put a point across there as well, like, we're talking supplements here, but let's not forget, we just said that fats ADE and K are fat soluble vitamins, so you can achieve some of them through food. So focus on the foods that you can get: good oily fish, grass-fed meats, any meats that are generally organic will have a better quality and profile of nutrients in them. And then the rest of the multivitamins that we're talking about, you can achieve them from eating food, real food, vegetable intake. You don't have to go around eating like a rabbit, but having 1 portion per meal is a good start. But having 2 portions of veg per meal is not that hard, because I think people think that a portion of veg is a massive amount, when really it's not. Like chunky veg, it's like half a cup. When it comes to leafy veg, it's like a full cup, and that's a portion. That's not that hard to get inside a meal. You know, imagine you had like broccoli and let's say cucumber or something, you could have a cup of that. That's no problem, man. You can nail that. You know, it wouldn't be an issue, but you're going to get a lot of benefit from it.
Yeah, totally. So we're going to go on to the diabetes diet that the government have given out. I did a little bit of...
So is this the one with the one they recently, the most recent, where they talk about shakes specifically, or the whole obesity strategy?
No. This is the soup and the shake diet that I'm specifically talking about. Is what I've looked at. If you've looked at more, then great.
I think there's more though, because there's
the whole obesity strategy. Yeah, that they released probably a bit over a month ago now, which is like the whole underlying thing.
Yeah.
And I think what's come from that is maybe the strand with the diabetes aspect, where they recommend the shakes and then the soup. You said. Okay. Yeah. Cool.
Let's do that bit first, and then we'll talk about the whole strategy afterwards. So, have you basically what they're getting people to try and do is just soup and low calorie shakes.
Yeah. Is it prescribed? I don't actually know about that. I
don't actually know if it's prescribed, but their recommendation, I think, is.
They have like a calorie counting.
1400, isn't it?
Like a calorie counting tool. Well, not even a tool. They recommend that you eat a certain amount of calories, and they recommend that you have these types of foods and shakes in replacement for meals. But again, like we described last time, that is just a very quick solution to a very massive problem that doesn't really end in a solution, in my opinion, because you're just teaching people, right, bang, here, all the food that you eat now, stop eating it. Have these shakes and have these soups here now and lose the weight. And it will work. There's no doubt. Like, I could get somebody to just drink a liter of chocolate milk a day and they're going to get lean, because there's just not enough energy in there to support everything else running. But the problem I think that we will end up having is that nobody has learned anything from the process, and that's the main problem, isn't it?
That's the main issue. Education. No one learns anything. It's like so in the strategy itself, like the main one, they talk about how the success of their traffic light system, you know, the system has been around for ages, where things come up in red, and how good it's been. I mean, but yet we're still in the situation where 63% of everyone is obese or overweight. So obviously it hasn't worked that well. And then they also reference how because the issue I have with it, and what we're doing, is we're writing a letter to the government through the contacts we have, basically outlining all these issues, because the main thing they claim is the best pathway to use is what apparently has always happened, is to use GPs and the NHS. So that's why the NHS released an app and things like that. And that's the pathway they need to use, or people need to use for overweight. But, well, first of all, how long do you spend with a GP? Probably less than 10 minutes in an appointment these days, if you get one. Especially if you're in a city here, like you can wait 6 months. And so one, that's not enough time to help someone. And second, GPs, although know about health, but is it their expertise? No, they always refer to someone else until you get palmed off.
You think in their 7-year degree they studied nutrition?
No, exactly. They probably do like 2 days worth of nutrition, but it's not the right people to see. And then the app, like you said, there's no long-term solution. It's here's 12 weeks on the app. Here are the calories you need to hit, and like we said briefly last week and just now, so the men is 1900 they've set out from the start, and then there's 1400 for women. So it takes into account no individualization of where people currently are in their nutrition. So someone could be smashing down 3000 calories, probably not know that, and then go, oh, I've got somehow now go into this whole tracking system and only eat 1900 or 1400. Yeah. I feel freaking horrible. I haven't eaten anything all day. This is miserable. Why would I carry on doing this?
Yeah.
Stopped. Game 1, week 1, done. Not having it.
Yeah.
It would be very hard, I think, for somebody to do that. Like, just make that drastic change anyway. The app that they have as well, they say at the start that there's no calorie counting, but there actually is calorie counting.
Well, otherwise, how do you know if you've hit the little limit they tell you?
Yeah, you're asked to count calories, so it's a bit of a. You're trying to sell it as super easy. That's
the main thing. Where do you go?
Yeah, but
like
that's
from 1400. Where'd you go? That's week 1. Like
week 1. No, and I've looked through the week 12, and there is just you keep at the 1400 calories. I mean,
and like you said, you'll lose weight. You will.
High risk. Yeah, you will.
It's just
you would if you stuck to it.
Yeah, but it's not the point. The point isn't that, you know, if someone has had a lifestyle that's taken them into a position where they've got type 2 diabetes, for example, like they're trying to target in this specific one, then they've spent a lot of time making really, really bad choices. And what we like you said, Simon, we need to teach them what good food looks like, what a good plate looks like, you know, the type of food that they can eat. And putting someone on shakes and it's a quick fix to me, and it's a way of the government, I think, not to get political, the way of the government trying to show that they're doing something.
Yeah,
you know,
no, it's exactly what it is.
You know,
so they are doing something.
Yeah,
but they obviously haven't consulted. They haven't consulted with the right people.
No.
No, they haven't. But it's much like anything. They're just trying to bang something out there and make it. The only thing that I can say to back them up is they're trying to cover a lot of people in this massive blanket.
Yeah, of course.
They're just going for this like ballpark figure of 1400 calories. If we give that to everybody will lose weight. And that's again, we're not saying you won't lose weight, you will, but it doesn't make it right. It doesn't inform the people who really are suffering with a type 2 diabetes why they're suffering from type 2 diabetes. What are the things that they're doing in their lifestyle that's leading them down this path, and what they can do to reverse that, and what they can do in the long term, because that's 12 weeks is nothing. 12 weeks is it's a tiny amount of time, and it will go by quicker than you imagine.
It's one lockdown.
Yeah, it's one lockdown.
Yeah.
What happens after 12 weeks? And like we've all experienced this, I'm sure, with clients where they hit their goal, they hit their target, and then they're like, cool, I'll just go relax. And then they're like, they go back to their own eating patterns, and then they return to the base level that they were. You can never return to eat and live how you did before and expect to have the same results. It will always lead you back to where you were before.
Might just be slow, like it was because it was always put on people usually put weight on quite slowly over the years.
Yeah.
The same thing will happen. You'll steadily start creeping back towards where you were.
There has to be lessons as to why you're gaining it, what you need to do, how you change your lifestyle, and all these things. Like it should have been, and these things should be taught from years ago. It's not like diet information's only coming out now. I mean,
it's years, man.
It's been out years. People have been losing weight since the dawn of time. I mean, we're at probably the smartest or the most advanced level of nutrition now that we can make it really simple. We're so advanced we can make it really simple.
We on the diabetes side of things, probably a good time to do a keto style diet then, isn't it? To be honest, all jokes aside.
It is and it isn't. The diabetes thing's it's a weird one, isn't it? The overall driving factor that tends to lead people in the diabetes is that the fact that they've gained weight.
Yeah, so it's not excess sugar by default because there's excess calories for a long period of time.
I eat absolute truckloads of sugar. In terms of carbohydrates, I have like 500 grams plus a day sometimes. But it's always within my limit. So my body's burning the energy up. I'm using all the nutrients. Because I'm training, I absorb and put the sugar where it should be properly. So it's not entirely just the carbs. It's the lifestyle is leading in the diabetes. Overweight doesn't happen by undereating. So you're overeating massively. And most likely the side effect that goes along with people who have gained weight is that they don't move as much. So those are the two things that you need to do first, is help them lose weight first, help them move more and understand that, and look at their diet in terms of like, what is it that they're doing that's causing them to overeat? Because you'll find that they are eating the sugary foods. They're eating stuff that's not filling you up or satisfying your appetite, which causes them to be able to eat more and more and more. I mean, I could eat 8,000 bowls of cereal. You know, it's just, it doesn't take much, but I can't eat 8,000 steaks. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't eat 20 chicken breasts in a row, or so, you know, because I'm going to be stuffed up. My body's going to break that food down. It's going to take time to digest. Whereas the other stuff is just so quick. It's in and out.
So the point is it's very easy to overeat on foods like that because they're so easy to eat and they go through you much, much quicker. So so by default, by overeating on them, you're overeating on sugars, which
that's it. It's the choices they're making.
Yeah,
but the overall thing is get them to lose weight, but help them understand why they gained weight and what it takes to stay lean or at least in shape.
Yeah, it's just there's no education aspect. That's like even why the traffic light system. Yeah, okay, but is it educating people really? Or it's more just all you see red, avoid that. It's just more restrictive than anything. That learning actually you can, like you said, you have your sugary treats, but you do it in a way because you're educated in a way to do it where you can.
Yeah.
And the way the system is laid out and the proposal is stated is all talk about, okay, you need to only eat this. So obviously everyone's just going to restrict the stuff they actually probably enjoy.
Yeah.
Whereas if there was an educational element to it, there should be a whole aspect of learning how to do exactly what you're doing, how do you fit it into your week where you can have it, still enjoy your life, do what you want to do, but then do it in a way where you're not going to be doing it in a way that's detrimental to your health.
That's it. Yeah.
So there's none of that. There's none of that.
There's none of that. And that's it exactly. I think it's the education as the how they fit, because nobody wants to be a robot the rest of their life, and nobody's going to want to do a soup and shake diet for more than 12 weeks. They're going to be counting the days down to the end.
No, it's a short-term fix for a long-term problem. Like, I can understand it to a point where someone's literally at a tipping point where it's like, if you don't do this, like it's game over for you.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand it for that aspect, but then if they're not there, just avoid it. Like, it's like surgery. Like, if you can avoid going to surgery, people will avoid surgeries. It's a similar sort of theory for me. It's like, if you can avoid literally living off fucking soup, do it. Like, don't use that tool.
But it is. It's such a missed out thing. Educating people will always make them more empowered to make a better decision. And so we only have to take the lessons from, the leanest people that I've ever met in my life eat the most amount of junk. But they do it in such a way that, only the people who look at them and think they're lean look at them with, awe. They look at them in awe, and they look at them with jealousy because they're like, oh my God, they're just eating junk all the time. But what they don't notice is that these lean people will have the cake at lunchtime, but then they won't really eat dinner.
Yeah, that's it.
They just won't do it. They'll be like, oh, I'm a bit full up. I had that. Or, I had quite a lot that time. I'll probably just miss out that. Or they won't eat breakfast the next day, and then their lunch will be like, they might have a heavy dinner. So they're just automatically balancing out. And that's the key that we need to get through to people, is you can have all the types of food that you want. There should be no restrictions in your life with food. There should just be control. You have a little bit of this, you remove a little bit of that. That's as simple as it. You're playing a game of moving around. And you'll find that the heavier people the people who are really obese, who've gained weight over long periods of time, is that they'll have the treat and then they'll go home. How often is it that people have Friday afternoons, like let's say like a desk job where they'll have like treats on a Friday. They might go.
It happens all the time. Just walking across here, so where we are, obviously it's just bars and restaurants. It's lunchtime, couple of cheeky pints. At the pubs are open. Like pizzas, like, oh, let's go for a pizza for lunch. Oh, the WeWorks that are all around here. Bars open, little 3 p.m. little pint. Yeah, why not?
Who does all the time? What between? Who drinks between work?
All the time.
Who are these people?
Everyone. Come here and walk along the street along here. Everyone.
I have been waiting for an invite to your gym, but seriously.
But I've been waiting for you to look presentable to come in. Now you got a haircut. You're all right.
Thank you. And you're reading between the lines. I was reading between the lines.
Yeah. But it is true though. These people then will have, they'll have their cheeky pint and they'll have a little bit more at lunchtime, but then they'll go home and it's Friday, and then they'll have the takeaway, and then they'll have the extras on the takeaway, and then the next morning they feel a bit shit, so they have a massive breakfast. So, you know, they're following a different path, whereas the lean people will have the cheeky pint, but then be like, oh, you know, I'll just have a bit of lighter dinner tonight. And that's it. You stay lean forever if you just make these choices. You enjoy the food when you have it, and then you just reduce the other parts of the stuff where you don't really care about it so much.
We used to have no, go on, Jack.
Carry on.
Yeah,
you
carry on.
No.
I was going to say something that's not really going to help people as much. So you go.
I was going to say the calorie counting. Obviously, if you look anywhere, there's massive. There's no real. It's either when people put information out about it, it's either, oh yeah, it's really good, or no, it's the worst. It makes horrible habits. You end up with mental health problems and things like that. But for me, it's a tool that you can use in and out of. But then again, it comes back to education. But just like Simon, you said, the people that are lean and stay lean are people that use it as a tool probably. And the same as what Simon, you do, George, you do, and what I do. Like say, I've got a holiday coming up. It's like, I want to look a little bit better for it. I may not have been tracking my calories for however long because I'm just happy doing what I'm doing. I'm feeling good. But then if there's something coming up, it's like, okay, I want to got a little goal in mind or something. And because I've already done the education and know how to use the tool, I dip back into it, use it to get where I go on my holiday, come back, maybe not use it, I don't know. Come back. But then you use it as a little tool just to dip in and out of, be like, okay, actually, I've had probably a few too many pizzas over the last 2 weeks or whatever it is. You just dip back in, you know how to use it and when to use it. And you've got the education and knowledge behind it to be able to do all those things we've spoken about, but then you can put it away because then you don't need it.
But it's
happy, you get to your point and you maintain.
I think from that you automatically learn, because you know, if you weighed up, let's say a portion of rice for 10 days in a row, you kind of know what a portion.
You then know,
exactly. You can eyeball it.
Do you know how many people have no idea what a portion of pasta is? You always see people cooking pasta and they'll be like, "Oh shit, I didn't know. I just cooked so much of it."
Yeah, and they eat loads in one.
No one knows.
Yeah,
no one knows.
Nobody knows. It's the most unknown thing ever.
Like the first time you go to the uni or something, you make spaghetti bolognese, and then you've got like 8 weeks worth of spaghetti bolognese because you're then like, I fucked this up. Oh no.
Jack, the likes of me and Simon didn't go to uni, mate.
Oh, if you cook your own pasta meal, and you're like, I've got so much here.
Yeah, I will say on the people who are really anti-counting, there's other ways. There's other ways. Let's be frank here, right? If you have if you have a hand-side portion of carbs, a couple of pieces of veg, and if you're a meat eater, a bit of meat most of the time, and then 3 times a week, you have a bit of cake, you have a beer, you're going to be all right. Do you know what I mean? And if you're finding you're not all right, that's not what you're doing. You know what I mean? You're there's other things that are creeping in there that you don't know about. And I've had it where people have been so, I don't want to count calories, this is what I'm doing. They show me the food diary. And then you should be losing weight here. You should be based on what you're telling me, you should be losing weight. It's like, and then all of a sudden, that's crept in. And all of a sudden I go, right, I will track the calories of what you've now told me, and is 1,000 calories more in a day sometimes than they think. Yeah. And those little creepers.
Some people can drink 1,000 calories of coffee.
Yeah, exactly. So for the people who are resistant to the calorie counting, just remember what the guys have said here is that you don't have to do it all the time.
No, even if you do it for a week, it's like when I ask people to do it and they do it, they're like, this has just been an eye-opener for me. It's like, I did not know. I had no idea that 8 Guinnesses was that many calories. Yeah. I had no idea. Like, man.
I used to drink 24 pints all the time.
They're like, how much?
Do you remember, like, people used to try and say to me, like, the reason I put weight on is it's not because of the alcohol, it's because what I eat because of the alcohol. Because, you know, alcohol.
So it's the alcohol.
And they were like, yeah, because alcohol, you know, it doesn't count in the calories. I was like,
Yeah, it's like saying like, oh, I'm not a terrible person when I'm on crack, but when I'm on crack, I am a terrible person. I can do terrible things. So then so it's a crack. And
then I had to explain like there's 7 calories per mil. 7 calories per
I know
mil.
people don't really understand it.
You know,
but even in your mind, you're drinking it. You're not associating that. That's if I put their calories into a roast dinner and be like, here, you're eating an extra roast dinner every day. They'd be like, oh my god,
wow, yeah,
what the hell is going on? But going back to that the government thing is. Yeah. They stated on there, to lose weight, you need to be in a deficit of 600 calories a day. That's what it doesn't have to be. Nope, it certainly doesn't. You could lose weight on 200 calories a day in a deficit as long as it's consistent, 300 calories, but top that up with a bit of exercise and life is all good. But I know people who are on, especially women who are on 2,500 calories and they are fine. They are maintaining, living life full, and they are, functioning really well. They're basing it on the average of 2,000 calories a day it takes somebody to burn. Some people don't burn that. Some people burn more. Some people burn less. That's where the blanket statement comes in, and it ruins things.
Yeah. Have they talked about output? Have they talked about output on this?
They do. They talk about trying to be more active and they've got like a little thing where you can track your activity and put it on.
Yeah, but like I understand because obviously it's a national thing that they're trying to put something out there. But I just don't see why they couldn't, within the app, create a system where it's like, okay, everyone's individual. Why can't we make it an individual system that they use?
Yeah.
In the sense that, like, why does it have to be where they say it has to be this deficit for everyone?
Yeah.
It's like, well, it doesn't, because everyone can have a different deficit. So why don't you have a calculator that's super simple, like MyFitnessPal, where you can put your own stuff in and work out for yourself rather than putting what it can easily be done
even individually. If it was like a traffic light system, like you said, but it was more functional where you had to record your own food in there for a week and then it flags up, right, this is really high in calories, and just flagged up all the things and give you pointers as in like all of these things that flag up, you need to reduce portion. It doesn't even have to get rid of it. It could just be like, it could be you put cereal in and it flags up cereal being like, right, these cereals are really high, you do this. And eventually then it would be, because that's going to be an easy system set up, you'd be able to just
someone puts in their stuff and then it highlights, okay. You don't even have to count the calories. You can, like you can with everything, they scan the food that they're putting in or they input in the food. And then at the end of the week, or the end of the day, however, what system works best for someone, be like, okay, this is how many calories you're eating a week. Yeah, what you need to do to lose weight, if you do and then you could choose maybe where they go, okay, do you want a deficit of 100 calories, 200 calories?
Yeah.
They can choose. If someone's like, okay, 200 calories, I reckon I could do that. And then it gives you an example like, okay, this is probably things they could cut out or something from the amount of food they put in. Okay, if you wanted to reduce by 200 calories a day, basically you eat exactly the same what you've eaten that day, but you don't have those 2 bowls of cereal.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay, I'll just do that. And then that's the option. Away you go.
Yeah, because you.
And then but then it doesn't last just 12 weeks. You do that for a month, and then you're like, okay, I'll go back in because that's probably when really plateau potentially. You're like, okay, this is what I'm doing now. Okay, this is what you now need to drop down by then, another little option. And it progresses and progresses until at the very beginning of when they sign up to the app, they put in a goal. I want to lose X number of kilograms, or I want to get this weight. They keep going until they get to that point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's so much better to do it that way. I mean, you imagine what you said, Si, about, you have clients, I will know people that are on 2,500 calories. And imagine that person and they're maintaining weight. Imagine going up to that person and be like, drop to 14. That's like, that's 1,100 calories. All they need to do is they're all maintaining weight. If you're maintaining your weight, it means you're on a tipping point. Okay. It means you'd have to change a really small amount before you start losing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, it's not like that this person's incessantly gaining weight and needs to create a big drop to get themselves in a deficit. Yeah. This person is maintaining weight, and imagine saying to someone like that, and what tends to happen, right, is a person gets to a certain weight based on what they're eating, and because of homeostasis, they stay there unless they then up their calories again consistently. So why, like you guys have been saying, why take that person and make it incredibly difficult for them, dropping them all the way to 1400 when likely they're on 3005? It's a false economy.
Yeah, it's like okay, here's a smoker that's smoking 30 cigarettes a day. Okay, now you only smoke 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, obviously, he's gonna be like, "Fuck off, mate." Obviously, I'm not doing that because I'm gonna be miserable and it's gonna be horrible.
Yeah,
it's exactly the same.
Yeah. So I think it's been the message today, I think, is very much accidentally, very much been about education.
Yeah, just educate yourself on the tool. And then if, like you said, if the calorie counting thing, maybe you try it and you're like, actually, no, I hate this is bullshit. There are other options. And like you said, with just portion control and working out in a different way, it all comes down to the same thing anyway, calorie deficit. Every single diet in the world is a calorie deficit. Like if you do intermittent fasting, guess what? You're reducing your calories to a deficit.
Yeah.
Apart
from keto.
But then the other point, just because I want to get it in, is like in the actual official document, if you type in the word exercise to search, it doesn't come up. Not once. You know when you're like on the computer on a document, you can cite and like be like, oh, where does this word feature?
Oh, really?
It does not. On the official PDF that you can download, not once.
Seriously?
And not once. Obviously it says like movement and move more. But first of all, why has there been a system or a system to encourage people to eat out to help out, which is great. I understand from an economy point of view, brilliant. Have you seen the list of restaurants?
Yeah, McDonald's, Subway.
They release this strategy to do all of this, but then they release this like, oh, but you can also get 50% off your McDonald's, so crack on.
Yeah.
And it's like, why isn't there alongside this strategy some sort of encouragement system to be like, I don't know, with government-backed or council-backed leisure centres and things like that. Hey, you can have 50% off a gym membership. Hey, here's free tennis lessons for the next month. Go get involved in a sport that you like, and you're like, no, I like this. I'm going to keep doing this.
That's
I'm moving
brilliant point.
Why are they doing that?
Brilliant point. What a brilliant point, because it's so much easier to create a habit through,
if it's free, people it's like obviously now maybe not weather-wise, but so like I don't know, like free swimming lessons, free whatever it is. People find something they didn't think they would do because it's expensive, but they realize the benefit from it. Realize they're actually investing in themselves, and so they're like, actually, this is money well spent.
Yeah.
So they end up doing it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen as well how many times have people come in, started the exercise, not really want to chat about nutrition, and once they start to get more and more motivated, 2 months down the line, they're like, can we chat a bit about nutrition? Sometimes the movement and the output and getting them to feel better prompts them to think, hey, and that's a really good point, I think. So, so I suppose I think takeaway points from me is go out and do a little bit of reading about food, what your plates should look like. Have a little research on these calorie counting apps, because I think you were going to say something about that, Simon, earlier, is that not only do you get how many calories you had, you get how much protein's in that, how much carbohydrates in that, fats,
even down the vitamins and minerals,
mineral profiling. You start to really understand what's in your food. Yeah. So you can start to then. We're talking down the line, keep it simple, of course, as much as you can. But as more knowledge you have, the more likely you're going to be to positively affect your lifestyle.
And sustain it forever.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And if you go, because it can be overwhelming when people try to research this stuff on their own, especially if you use social media as your main source of information, which I don't recommend. But if you go and Google, like, oh God, calories, I imagine the search results are probably in the billions. It'd be insane. Ask someone. Don't go ask your GP. Ask one of us, or ask someone that's an expert in the knowledge. Ask a dietitian or nutritionist.
Absolutely.
Ask someone. Reach out. People are more than happy to help. If I had a message in my Instagram or whatever, and I saw it was like, actually, can you just give me a brief laydown on this for a call? I'm sure it's the same for you.
We would, totally,
You just reach out to someone.
Yeah, it's worth actually investing in yourself though. Like I know we were saying it, but like go to a trainer, go to a nutritionist. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Like people are happy to go out there and spend hundreds of weekends.
Hundreds of pounds on beer.
On weekends of beer, loads of money on clothes that they don't feel comfortable in because they're not in shape. They're on hair, on nails, on makeup, on just things. But you could gain a lot from spending just a little bit. If it was like 40 quid a week or whatever, and you're getting a PT to educate you or a nutritionist, it's not that big of a cut. And in a couple of months, if that was all you're using it for purely education to help you, you would gain a lot from that.
Yeah, 100%. Totally. Gentlemen, I think that's all I have time for today.
No, brilliant.
That was really good, I think. So I think more of the same next week. Similar, but we'll kind of evolve it. But thank you very much. Nice to see you both.
Pleasure.
Same time next week.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Sounds good.
Same time next week. Have a good evening, gents. I know
Thank you.
See you later.
Okay.
Bye.
See you later.